This is my mechanics walkthrough video, starting with my weapon selection menu. This menu has the choice of weapons that when selected, the chosen weapon will be attached to the player. This is done through data assets, where there is one data asset for the weapon that includes the ammo, the meshes and the damage. Currently they are all hit scan weapons, as that was the weapon I felt most comfortable making, as I had more experience with line traces than I did projectiles. These are the additional input action mappings I made for sprinting and crouching. These are the only movement based ones I made, as they were the only ones I deemed necessary for this type of project. Throughout the map you can see me collecting treasure. These are simple coin meshes with a collider box on them. When the player collides with them, they first check if they are the current player in the game and not an AI, as they can also overlap them as they are the same pawn class. Once it is confirmed to be the player, it uses an event dispatcher through the treasure component to tell the game rule that a treasure has been destroyed. This treasure is then removed from the map and is told the game mode that points need to be added. The game mode then goes back down the chain and tells the player controller through an interface called iScoreable, and tells the player controller that it now has the score that it needs to deal with. This score is then added to the HUD widget, which is already on the player controller, which you can see being added to in the corner of the screen. There are other variables that the HUD widget need updating throughout the game, such as the ammo and the health. The ammo is found from the weapon data asset and is updated once the player fires or reloads their weapon. This ammo is also used to determine when the gun should be able to fire. If it is 0, the gun should not fire. The player health is also dealt with on the player controller, so when the pawn is damaged, it just tells the owning controller that it has been damaged, after checking if the player is the player character and not an AI. In the player controller is where it stores the user's health and passes it along to the HUD widget via a percentage. With the treasure, each treasure is worth 10 points. There can be multiple worth different amounts of money, however for now they are all stuck at 10. To exit the map, 150 is needed, which can be determined on the game mode. There is a door interactable at the start of the map that when used F, a line trace is detected, and if the player has the required amount of treasure, the player will be able to exit the map. This brings up a win menu, which includes a play again button. If this is pressed, the player will go back to the game and open the level brand new. My final main mechanic of this game was my AI. I spent the longest time on my AI, as it is the specialism I want to go into. There are currently two types of AI roaming, one that fires a weapon and one that is a melee attack. The melee AI in this game has a collision box attached to their fist, but when an animation montage is playing, that collision box is enabled. If that collision box were to collide with the player, then apply damage was called, and that is at 5 damage. This damage then follows the rest of the tree to display on the HUD. The weapon AI have a gun that's attached to their left hand. I did attempt to do this through socket so that the weapon was constantly on their hand, however that messed up with the firing using a hit scan, hence the weapon is now just located at their hand. When the AI turns to attack, it first uses an EQS system to locate a position between the AI and the current player, which would be a good position for them to fire on. They then fire and rotate towards the player for 10 seconds before exiting, and if the player is still visible, fire the EQS system again, or continue to their last known location. After continuing to their last known location, all AI have the ability to patrol. There are patrol points set around the map, which the AI will circulate through, walking from one to the next to the next. This increments one at a time, and the AI has the option to decrement instead, so when it reaches the last position, it will go back round the chain.